Hello, everyone. Welcome to our New Mexico Crime Victims Reparation Commission post-award workshop for our state award. It's great to all be here together, and we plan on giving you a fun-filled, live, action-packed review of web grants. Our goal is to review web grants, invoicing and budget revisions, and we'll take you through web grants with a demonstration and a PowerPoint presentation. My name is Donna Richmond. I'm the Grants Bureau Chief here at Crime Victims Reparation Commission, and I have with me our grant program managers. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Thank you, Donna. My name is Lourdes McKenna, and I am the VOCA Grant Administrator here at CVRC.
I'm Kristen Woodhagner. I'm the VAWA Grant Administrator at CVRC.
And I am Maribel Baca. I'm the State Grant Administrator here at CVRC.
Also on our team are Jackie Mascarenas and Sadie Sires. They are our grants program specialists, and you may interact with them when you're doing invoices. They may negotiate an invoice back or ask for clarification regarding a submission of an invoice. Also, our director is Frank Zubia. He regrets that he can't be with us today. We also have Cindy Mock, who is part of our team. She's our Chief Financial Officer here. We have included on this slide everyone's contact information, their phone numbers, and their emails so that you would have them handy. You can contact anyone directly here. Today, we're going to do an overview of CVRC. We're going to review how to register and access web grants. Maribel will review the state contracts, invoice and budget revisions. And we want to introduce you to progress reporting. I just want to let you know that this year we will ask for quarterly progress reports for our state awards. This will be covered in more detail at a later date. Our first progress report would be due in October. So in September, we will conduct another webinar so that we can go over what types of data points that we're going to be collecting for a quarterly progress report. CVRC was created in 1981. We are under the direction of a 5-member commission. We have 3 departments here at CVRC. We have our admin department, which consists of our director, Mr. Zubia, along with our finance staff, which is led by Miss Cindy Mock. And they also cover HR for us. Our second department here is our compensation unit. They assist clients directly with reimbursement for expenses that are directly related to being a victim of a crime. And then you have our grants team here. And we administer federal and state grants. We have approximately 88 agencies with approximately 252 contracts that we administer for both federal and state funding. If you have any questions, we're asking that you please hold your questions till the end. There's a lot of information that the team is going to cover. If you would like to put your question in the chat, then we can read the question out loud. Lourdes is going to monitor our chat for us. I'll turn the floor over to Maribel so she can begin with our access to web grants and how to register.
Thank you, Donna. Welcome, everyone, to the State Fiscal Year 2025 Post-Award Workshop. I am Maribel Baca, and I am the State Grant Administrator with Crime Victims Reparation Commission. I will be going over the web grants access and registration. Registration can be done at www.nmcvrcgrants.com. You may ask who needs to register. Anyone who needs access to the system, who will be submitting invoices, submitting any programmatic reports, or who will need access or managing the grant information, such as accessing the grant contract or budget. The state contract. Everyone should have already received a contract that was routed via DocuSign. Thank you for signing the contract and helping us expedite the process. CVRC has received all contracts back from contract review bureaus in Santa Fe, and we now have fully executed contracts with a July 1st start date. Please refer to your contract and award letter. These documents have important information, such as your award period, Award periods for these contracts start July 1st of 2024 through June 30th of 2025. Reviewing all the conditions in your contract and award letter, such as special conditions of all staff must complete the OVC TTAC training. CVRC may inspect these records, and contract award amounts may be subject to change depending on spending patterns. We will go over the budget basics. Budgets must equal contract amount within your budget. Please refer to your web grants to make sure your budget amount is what is on your contract. All items should be allowable and reasonable. Report potentially duplicate funding to CVRC. All out-of-state travel must be approved by CVRC prior to any travel. Track any individual CVRC awards separately, such as if you have your VAWA, BOCA, and state awards, please make sure that those are all tracked separately. Any changes to the budget require a budget revision and must be approved by the state grant administrator or administrators before you are submitting your invoice.
All budget revision requests for all CVRC grants go through the same process. You'll submit your request through web grants for CVRC to review and process your request. And when you open it in web grants, you'll see these different elements that are on this screen, and you'll submit in that, and we will walk you through what that looks like in web grants later on in this presentation. You can also find templates on the CVRC website in the documents to download section. And there are a lot of resources on the website in the documents to download section. So if you're not familiar with it, I do recommend that you take the time to look at that section. If you have any questions about your budget or a budget revision, please always feel free to ask any of the grant administrators. There are changes that will always require a budget revision request, and different requests will require different documentation. Any changes to personnel, such as a staff change, require you to provide a resume. A change in title requires a job description, and we always require the rate of pay and the hours on the grants. So how many hours will you be charging to this specific grants? Contractual consultants, so anyone that you're having a contract with, you'll have to submit that contract to CVRC ahead of time to review. And please submit requests for conferences and training ahead of the event so you get prior approval. And we'll have time to look at the agenda and the dates and the attendee that you're sending. And moving any funds to another budget line item or adding a new budget line item will require a budget revision.
Invoices. Invoices are due on the 10th day of each month at 11:59 p.m. unless it falls on a holiday or weekend. The first invoice for the state awards will be due on Monday, August 12th. Submission will be done within web grants at nmcvrc.com. Downloaded templates such as accounting sheet, budget revision template, or other documents can be downloaded at CVR website under documents to download. Provide supporting documentation such as receipts and timesheets and pay stubs. The accounting sheet, budget, documentations, and web grants should match. Be sure when you're entering your entry within the web grants that the total reimbursement requested amount matches your accounting sheet and your documentation. Invoicing common errors. Check the dates that are correct on your invoice. Please make sure that if it's for a July 1st through 31st invoice, that your pay period dates are for July. Accounting sheet should be in Excel. You should be able to show your work and use formulas if able. If you need to write a note in the margins to explain any of the charges, please do so. If there's a revision in the budget, please wait and submit a budget revision before submitting your invoice. We will process that accordingly, and then you would be able to submit your invoice after. Your personnel hours must be within the approved budget hours. Percentage of effort for benefits must match the percentage of effort for your personnel. The state awards will require a quarterly progress report. As Donna mentioned at the beginning, we will have a webinar in the fall regarding this quarterly progress reporting and what that will consist of. Always feel free to contact anyone at CVRC. Here is my information as a state grant administrator.
Lourdes, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yes, thank you. For the required OVC TTAC training, do all staff at our agency need to complete these trainings, or only client-facing staff, or only staff that are funded by CVRC?
This will be all staff.
Thank you. So all staff in the agency must complete the OVC TTAC training. Secondly, if it has been 3 years since a person has taken this training, do they need to recomplete all 40+ hours of the training again? Or do they only need to complete any training that has been added or updated since they last took it 3 years ago?
It is a requirement to be renewed every 3 years.
Thank you. So all staff must retake all of the OVC TTAC training every 3 years.
That is correct.
Thank you. And does this include the finance staff as well?
As my understanding, it is all staff.
Perfect. So all staff in the agency, regardless of their position or their funding source. And then the last question for now, can we add budget line items throughout the year that are not originally listed in the original budget? And I think you're
Yes.
going to answer that as you go through the demonstration, correct?
Yeah, I can answer. That is correct. But yes, I will answer that question. And you are able to add new line items within the budget, within long as it's reasonable. We will review it and either provide additional information or approve.
Thank you. We'll come back to questions after the demonstration.
This is our CVRC web grants portal. On here, if you are a new user, you will click here to register in yellow. The registration personal contact information you will provide. We ask that you do please provide a primary contact phone number or a direct cell phone number. This will help CVRC expedite the process in case you need to be reached for a budget revision or invoice. We will provide your information of your organization so we can tie you to the organization within web grants and give you access to your funding opportunity or award information. You will hit save registration information. You will then be prompted to receive, the information will be prompted to CVRC for approval. Once it is approved, you will receive notification of your username and password within web grants. You will use that information to log in.
You'll click the green sign in button.
Once you are logged into the web grant system, you will see these items under your work assignment. You will see approaching deadlines. Under approaching deadlines, you will have information such as any new solicitations or anything that is solicited through CVRC. There is recent negotiations. Recent negotiations would be any invoices that we have sent out to you for correcting. Recent correspondence. This is the way CVRC will communicate with you via the web grant system. This is how we will send emails to you and request additional information if needed. On the left-hand side, there will be the grants component. If you click on grants component, it will take you to your active underway awards. If you click on the title or anywhere on that award, it will take you to this information within your award. It will show you the award amount and all the grant components that you will have access to within the award. The components I would like to point out is the invoice, the contract amendment. So invoices are where you'll submit your invoices. Contract amendments is when you will submit any budget revisions. And under the signed grant contract, here is where you will have access to your FY25 executed contract. This is where you can download it and save it for your records. All FY25 contracts have been uploaded within your award and you have access to them as of today. We will now go over how to submit a contract amendment. Click on Contract Amendment. On the right-hand side, you will add amendment in green. You click on the button. Your amendment type will be budget revision, and you will title it, such as if you need to do staff changes, hourly rate changes, or a line item change on your budget. You will hit Save Form. It will take you to the details of it. If you click on Budget Revision Request, it will prompt you to provide us information about your budget revision request. A narrative is required. It is highlighted in red. So this narrative is what we would ask you to provide us, what you are doing to what changes will be done to your budget. For instance, we will do an hourly rate change for an employee. Here you can list the employee's name or information.
And I'm going to click Save Form.
Once you hit Save Form, it will show your narrative. Down at the bottom, you will have documentation. It is required that you submit at least one document for your budget revision. If you go ahead and hit Edit Form, you will be able to add your contract amendment worksheet. And we will go over the contract amendment worksheet after we submit the amendment. So go ahead and hit Save Form after you've uploaded your documents. You have to make sure that you mark as complete. Once the details all show mark as complete, so your general information has a green check mark that shows mark as complete, and your budget revision also has a check mark that shows it was marked as complete. And then you will be able to submit amendment. If those green checks marks are not there, it will not allow you to submit your amendment. Once you hit Submit Amendment, you will have a box to confirm. After you submit the amendment, you will not be able to make any edits to the documents.
Click Submit.
Submit. Now the amendment has been sent over to CVRC for review and process. We would now like to go over the budget revision worksheet that you are able to access on the CVRC webpage under Documents to download. The budget revision worksheet will have the information that is needed for the budget revision, such as employee name and position, the hourly rate, grant hours, new budget, and current budget. Please be sure that your new budget and your current budget match and have the same amount. The goal would be that the total budget at the very bottom will equal to the same new budget that you are actually submitting. So any changes within the line items you are able to do, however, to make sure that your total budget matches this current budget amount. Next, we will go into invoices.
Do we have any questions regarding the budget revisions or questions thus far, Lourdes?
Yes, thank you. So to back up even just a little more in terms of registering in web grants, if we are registered for VOCA grants, do we re-register for the state grant?
That's a great question. No, you do not need to re-register for the state grants. Web grants is a system that we have to use for all our awards at CVRC.
So if you're already registered, once you click on the grants, then all of the grants that you've been awarded from CVRC will be listed there under that section as current grants. The next question, what if I accidentally submit the wrong form with the budget revision?
If you submit the wrong form, you can contact us, the state grant administrator, and we can go back and review it and then negotiate it negotiate the budget revision back to you to upload the correct documentation.
Thank you. And one more question. Where is that budget revision form that you showed?
We will show you that within the presentation and where to go. It is on our CVRC website under documents to download.
You want to walk through that right now?
Sure. So everyone should be familiar with our CVRC webpage.
Go back to the home page.
So we'll go to the home page.
Here's
Make your screen bigger.
cvrc.state.nm.us. And
Under resources,
documents
documents
to download.
to download. And if you scroll halfway down the page, you'll see Grant Financial Management. Here's where you'll find the budget revision worksheet, grant time and activities, an example accounting sheet. That the very first one is for your VAWA and BOCA awards. And then there's an example accounting sheet for your state awards. Next, we will go on to how to submit an invoice.
Oh, sorry, I clicked invoice from the components list. And now I'm going to click add claim for a new invoice.
We will select type of reimbursement. You will enter your reporting period. This reporting period should match your accounting sheet. So if we're reporting July 1st through July 31st, those are the reporting period dates that you will have selected. It will not be a final request, so you will leave it as no. Hit save form. This will take you back to your details. So the general information is the component we just completed with your reporting period dates. That now has a check mark. The next will go into reimbursement. Under the reimbursement, it will show you basically your budget that you have with CVRC. It will show your personnel benefits, any in-state, or any other categories that you may have a contract budget for. If you go to edit reimbursement, this will open up the expenses for this period. So it'll open up the boxes for you to go and enter your dollar amounts for the reimbursement amount. So under the expenses for this period, you will enter any dollar amount that you're requesting for reimbursement for personnel or personnel benefits or any other categories. If there is no expenses for a category or a line item, you are able to leave the $0 amounts listed. Once you enter your expenses for this period, you hit save reimbursement. And if you scroll down towards the bottom, it will total up your total requestment amount. Please be sure that this total amount matches your accounting sheet before you submit. Once that is verified, please mark as complete. And that component will be complete with a check mark. The next component will be invoice supporting documentation. Here is where you provide to CVRC any supporting documentation. such as your timesheet, paycheck stub, or any documentation to support your invoice, any receipts for any purchases that have made that we are requiring. This is where you will be uploaded. There is no limit on the amount of attachments that you can attach. So here you're able, if you do not have any attachments, you are able to mark this component as complete and move to the
to add an attachment, you can click the green button and I'll bring it up and click select file. You can choose something. You just choose anything.
Thank you, Kristen, for that.
And then you can say like pay stubs and save file. Then Maribel said, mark it as complete. And now there's a check mark there.
Your invoice advice. If you click on invoice advice and click on advice in blue, here is where you will be able to upload your Excel accounting sheet. Accounting sheet for July.
I'm going to click save file and mark as complete.
Now you'll notice all components are marked as complete and you will be ready to submit your reimbursement.
So I'll click the orange submit amendment. And I get a pop-up confirmation. It says after submission, you will not be able to edit. And click the red submit button. And that sends it to CVRC. I'm going to bring up the accounting sheet now.
While you do that, Kristen, there are a couple of questions. So in web grants, it said invoice advice. Can you clarify what the invoice advice is?
The invoice advice would be your invoice accounting sheet.
Perfect. And we will go over that here in just a moment. The next question, do all submitted attachments need to be in Excel format?
No, you are able to provide PDF documents as well.
Great, thank you. So only the accounting sheet has to be in Excel. The other ones can be other document formats. So on this screen is a sample accounting sheet. These are the components that should be included in your accounting sheet. So the first column that has data entered is the dates. So please make sure that the accounting sheet is showing the date that that payment was actually made. Next is how that payment was made, either a check number, direct deposit. You might want to put CC if it was paid with a credit card. The next column is who that payment was made to, and then a description of that payment. Again, these line items that are being sought reimbursement for should coincide with the line items on the budget. The next column is the gross amount. So this should be the total expense amount. And then in the last column, you will indicate the amount that is actually being sought reimbursement for from your state award. You're also going to include the percentage of that gross amount. Again, just to double check for your math. So you can see for Ginger Snap health insurance benefits, the gross was $419.50. We are only requesting reimbursement for 50% of that gross amount for a total of $209.75. For personnel, we do ask that you include the hourly rate, the total hours that that employee worked for that pay period, and then of those total hours, how many are being charged for your state award. So again, for Ginger Snap, she worked a total of 80 hours. We are seeking reimbursement for 40 hours or 50%. So therefore, the benefit percent charged should match the percent of effort on the award, 50% of her salary to 50% of health insurance benefits or any benefits that are being charged. Once you have the total amounts being sought reimbursement for the state, you will sum those up at the bottom. This total cash reimbursement total should match what was entered into web grants and should be supported with any supporting documentation that you have. Great, so we have just a few more questions. Is match required for the state?
No, match amount is not required for the state awards.
Okay, and when you entered the invoice dates, you said July 1st through July 31st, but what if I'm seeking reimbursement for only the pay period of July 12th through July 20th? Do I still enter the whole month?
Yes, you would still enter the whole month for your reporting period because we would be capturing that month of expenditures so that it would be still under the July invoice.
Okay, great. And so just to go back to our OVC TTAC training, please clarify all employees, regardless of position or funding source, must take the OVC TTAC training. Is that correct?
Yes, that is a correct statement. All employees, regardless of their position, must take the OVC TTAC training. Yes.
Thank you. So the next question is, if the invoice date is, in the example that you provided, July 1st through July 31st, but my pay period ends on August 2nd, can I bill for that pay period the following month?
Yes, you may bill for that on the following month. We're sticking just to the months that are actually being submitted. You can always go back and request reimbursement for any prior months. The only time this is going to be crucial is at the begin or at the end of the month when you're having to prorate. So if you are in August and you have July expenditures that you haven't captured in the previous month, you are able to submit them in your next month's invoice.
And that will be different at the end of the state fiscal year. So your June invoice, but you'll send out information about that. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. How do we sign up for the OVC TTAC training? We can drop that link in the chat for everybody. I will be happy to pull that up and I will drop that link. And then back to the OVC TTAC training, do student interns need to complete the training?
Yes, student interns need to complete the training. And we do have an email that we can distribute to you with the instructions on the OVC TTAC training, how to access it, which components need to be covered. So we can distribute that to all registrants if you would like. I see Lourdes did just drop it in the chat.
Yes, we will send out that email. People are asking if we can send out that link via email, so we will get that sent out. Okay, here's another one. Would outside accounting firms need to do the OVC TTAC training?
No, not an outside accounting firm.
Ms. Brink, I see you have your hand raised. You're welcome to unmute and ask your question.
Oh, so does it mean that even accounting staff has to attend the training?
Yes, if there are accounting staff within your agency, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So all internal finance people must complete the TTAC training. Okay, here's another question. How soon after starting do new employees need to complete that OVC TTAC training? Within 90 days. All new employees must complete that training within 90 days from their date of hire. And we ask that the agencies submit via web grants the training certificate completion confirmations. All right, I don't see anything else coming through, Maribel? Thank you so much for all of this information.
And thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you joining us today. If something does come up afterwards, please feel free to reach out to any of us and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.